stiffness in the legs, 18%. This is the one that really concerns me a lot. Again, this is the data that we've extracted from a sampling from a group of people. Probably the number one side effect question that I'm getting now is, my legs are getting stiff. What do I do? Well, there's been suggestions tough it out, and sometimes that works. There's also been suggestions drop back down to 3 milligrams, and sometimes that works. But there's no consistency there. I don't think we have lost anybody to this yet, okay? But this is something that's concerning, because the last survey, it was 2%. Flu-like symptoms. The question is flu-like symptoms. I have never heard of flu-like symptoms with LDN. Increased people, she's gotten telephone calls where people have had increased anxiety. There's a parallel between the endorphin system and the serotonin system, so yeah. And this is a complex thing. I mean, if you followed those slides, I want you to, come and teach me. But this is a really incredibly complex group of systems that we call the human body. Question was, how many of the people who have the sleep disturbances are newbies, within 6 months? And I would say 100% of them. I don't know anybody who's had, or nor have I heard of anybody who's had sleep disturbances for any length of time. The stiffness seems to appear somewhere between 3 and 4.5 milligrams, okay? The general population, it goes away. There are 2 or 3 people, 4 or 5 people, I can't give you a number, but a number of people where the stiffness hasn't gone away at 4.5, and we've suggested they go back to 3. A good portion of those are fine at 3, okay? Again, there's a subclassification of people, and one of the things that we do at the pharmacy is a lot of hypoallergenic people. It stands to reason there are going to be these types of folks, okay, in the MS population. So, are they more sensitive? Are they less sensitive? They'll be more sensitive, but that's just as a population distribution. There'll be that group of people, okay? Think about the stiffness in legs. It wasn't a big thing until about a couple, 6, 7 months ago, okay, and then went out on the internet. And I wonder how much the internet had to do with it. I'm a pharmacist. I see people all day long. I get a cold once a year. I feel terrible. I've been on LDN now 3 years. I haven't had a cold in 3 years. I stopped taking my LDN. I get a cold, flu or whatever the heck it is, okay? You know what? I don't care what the drug companies say. It works for me. Back to the side effects, okay? The big one that we're going to be looking at is the stiffness, okay? It's become a thing. And again, whether it's just one of those things on the internet or the blogs or something like that, that's going to be an issue with this. Okay, now, how do you feel? What's your day look like? 52% of the patients are saying that they have a better day every day. And that is up from last year. Okay, that's up a couple percentages from last year. And no change. Okay, what's the drug supposed to do? The drug is supposed to prevent exacerbations or progressions. Okay, so we now have 95% of the people, okay, who are successfully taking the drug, or the indication that they're taking the drug for is being successfully accomplished. Okay, so I was lipping off there about the 80+%. I want to know any drug that works at this level, any drug. Aspirin, Motrin, Tylenol, 95% of the population are either feeling better or they don't feel any worse, and that's what we're claiming the drug will do. Okay, and it's, for me now, it's become a claim. There is overwhelming data, okay? And I don't need a double-blinded study. All I need to do is listen to our patients. Now, as a business person, with my bias and me making all this money on LDN, are you going to push this stuff to other people? Funny thing, 92% of the people who are taking the drug recommend the drug. With all due respect, there are now born-again LDNers, okay? And they're wonderful people. One of the issues that I have had right along is how many diseases this drug works for. And I'm saying A to Z now. AIDS to zoster, because we have a couple people that have herpes zoster who are taking LDN and swear by it, okay? Why? I don't know. I think we have to be careful, though. Although I might not look very conservative, I am. And I think we have to be careful, because what can happen is, you have people call up, I have people call up, will this work for glaucoma? No, I don't think it's going to work for glaucoma. Well, my friend is taking it for glaucoma. Well, now, if that fails for glaucoma, okay, you know what's going to happen. What's going to happen is that the FDA will get a hold of this, and they will, come down hard on every one of us, and they can put us out of business. They nearly did that a couple months ago when they dried up the LDN or the naltrexone supply. I don't know if most of you are aware of it, but back in February or March, if you didn't have naltrexone, you were in big doo-doo because it wasn't available for any of the manufacturers. Then it started to come in, and because of our Molly study, we have to assay everything that comes in. We have to assay everything that goes out, and the quality of that naltrexone was down right at 98%, which is the lower limit. So people can play games with this, and the FDA don't think that they're not looking at this, because as with the hormone replacement therapy issue, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, Wyeth has come down, the maker of Prempro, another drug that kills people, and they get away with it. The Wyeth put out a petition, okay, to the FDA, and now compounders are fighting this. They're trying to take away, bioidentical hormones from women because they have all the scientific proof. Okay, so we have to be careful and fly under the radar until we're ready to smack them upside the head with all the good data that we can get. So, when people call about glaucoma and flat feet and stuff like that, it scares me. I believe that's the end of what I have to say.